This wasn't a video I had planned to make.
The thing that really tipped me over the edge was that they stopped me from seeing my children. What they say and what I say, they might sound the same, they're different. Whether it's monks in the Eastern world standing in front of government buildings and setting themselves on fire.
Now, I want most of this video to be the main interview that I had got, but I have to give some context. I was in London recording, walking around, just seeing what I'd find and could get up to. And that's when I came across one of the most interesting men that I've ever met in the last couple of years. We'd actually spoken the day before I recorded this interview to give some context and just so I could understand his purpose. And I knew that our conversation was so good and thoughtful, I had to come back and record an actual scheduled interview with some questions I'd prepared.
Yo, bro.
How's it going?
How you doing, man? You okay?
Yeah, good.
All good?
Give me just 2 seconds.
No worries, man. Take your time. Take your time.
Our conversation the day before and his purpose was really what sparked the entire source of this video.
The version is, in 2020 I had a problem with the way the government handled the pandemic. I thought people should have been given a choice. I then started solving other political problems and they started destroying my life from there. I've been imprisoned a few times. They've tried to frame me as a crazy terrorist. Not had fair trials during that process. The thing that really tipped me over the edge was that they stopped me from seeing my children. So I've decided to come down here and protest persecution, which I believe is the right word to describe it. And I think my goal is to try and get through into Parliament and to police the politicians, because they police us, so I think it's appropriate for us to police them.
Something that I actually feel is probably one of my biggest passions when talking about the general
political and economic state of the world right now.
Corruption. It's everywhere. And no matter where you go, if you're in a city, that city is going to be full of corrupt, nasty people within it, no matter what corner or what street you look down.
What's the biggest lie that you've ever been told?
Can I answer it with a story?
Yeah, sure.
Because I think it'd be useful for everyone to know this lie.
Sure.
When I was in Iraq, I was stood on the perimeter of the camp. Okay, it was Basra. There's this fountain of fire. It must have been 30 meters tall. I'm guessing it was far away, but you could see it from miles away. It was dark. Just this explosion of fire from the ground.
Right.
And I found one of the local guys, and I says, "What's that?" And he says, "It's oil." And I'm like, "Why is it on fire?"
Yeah.
And he says that they set it on fire because if they don't, it floods. So by setting it on fire, it burns it before it floods. And the flood could be a problem because it'll start coming to the homes, it'll start destroying crops. You know, they need to stop it, so they just burn the oil. And it was mad because oil's very expensive, you know, they call it black gold.
Yes, yeah.
And they just set it on fire to save their food.
Just to save food, yeah.
Because there was no value to it to them.
To them, yeah.
Obviously that's
To us,
a big thing.
Yeah.
So when they put that on the front page of the news, they wasn't doing it because it was news.
Right.
They were doing it to control a market movement in oil. And that makes the oil go up in value.
Price, yeah.
And it's like,
that's crazy.
they show
what
that
they
news
would
to
do.
everybody just to manipulate the markets.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder just how many people were on the front side of that move before it started. Knew that was going to be on
insider
the
trading and stuff like that. Yeah, absolutely.
It's something about corruption that me personally, I just can't stand more than anything else when we talk about politics or economics. However, it's sort of part of life. The world is always going to be corrupt, at least in someone's eyes, right? It can even boil down to as simple as a football game, right? Oh, the ref is corrupt. How did he not give that as a pen? It's a clear pen. And then someone say, no, it's obviously not a pen. How could you say that's a pen? That would be corrupt if he had given it, you know, X, Y, Z. And that can go from that to the most powerful moments in modern history. If you think about it, corruption is really at the epicenter of the greatest wars, the financial ecosystem that is built today, and the monopolies ran by the most elite of elite people.
You can improve it by saying, okay, well, rather than them telling you what they're going to vote for, why don't we, I'm going to pull something out now.
Okay.
So I was doing this the other day. I think I showed you this.
Yes, you showed me this yesterday.
The voice of the people.
Yeah.
And what was happening was, it's too big to get on your camera.
I can adjust this.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily agree with all the points that was brought up in this interview, but it's undoubtedly admirable, no matter from what perspective you view upon, no matter whether you agree of the cause and you think he's standing for a good cause, or no matter whether you disagree. Believing and fighting for a cause that you believe is true is the antithesis of corruption. It's reality. Even if you don't like the points being made, it's factual that this man is here for a reason, and that reason is to hold those elitists in parliament and politics responsible.
Imagine it on the internet. So imagine if there was a place on the internet you could go and write an idea, something you want to change, something that you're not happy with. Maybe you're just unhappy with something, or maybe you've got a solution to one of these problems. You know? And if you've got a solution to a problem and you can go on that website and just type it in, somebody else can say, oh, well, you've not thought about this, or don't forget about this aspect, or where's the money going to go, or maybe we can improve it like this, and people can work together to refine an idea.
There's a lot of problems in this country, and I truly think that if we had a government that was actually capable of making any real change or progress towards society, we would just see so many more young people more engaged by politics.
We should always be trying to improve. But I think there are better ways of doing democracy, especially with the introduction of technology. I mean, these guys are slow when it comes to technology. Realistically speaking, what they say and what I say, they might sound the same, they're different. They say digital ID, I'm going to say digital ID. My version of digital ID is not their version. Okay? My version of digital ID is your safe, secure identity in a manner that allows you to identify yourself digitally.
And that is important because young people are the future of politics and society. We are the future, right? And now in the state of British politics, I couldn't care less if we had a Conservative government or Labour. And this is my degree. And because my life isn't changing. Nothing changes. I still haven't noticed the difference between Keir Starmer's government and Rishi Sunak's government. And I read the news every day and I try to keep well informed. It's abysmal. The system in the UK is in shambles. And sure, they advocate for different views, but what good change are we actually seeing in society? And the best part is, any good change we do see isn't happening for another 50 flipping years. Oh yeah, great. We're going to get global warming temperatures down by 2 degrees. In 2050, hello, we've been saying that since the 2000s. That's a big problem and nothing's changing.
The problem isn't that we have to pay tax. The problem is how the tax money is spent, right? So for example, the NHS at one point was paying over 1,000% the value of medication when they were buying it from their suppliers. They could go to Tesco and buy it cheaper. Like, at what point do you turn around and go, you're robbing us?
Who's doing? There's something.
But there's loads of them. Like, I'm sure, like right now, they're on about automating the NHS. And I'm sure they'll outsource it to a private.
They were talking about that, not too long ago as well.
But it's very slow. Like, they should have been talking about this 10 years ago, you know? Like, AI has been given to us. They've had AI and using it for security for over a decade. So, like, realistically speaking, like, they should be at the forefront of this stuff.
And, oh yeah, we got advocates who are helping us, right? Like, Greta Thunberg is a great example, right? Greta Thunberg, whatever you think of her, she's proven to be a good advocate for global warming, right? But she has not enforced one policy change by any government in the world. For all that fame, for being Person of the Year, by being awarded by magazines and all these awards that she's gotten, she has not influenced one policy to be acted upon within the government. And she is one of the most influential activists that we have in the world right now. It's like, and even with those future changes, half the government aren't even going to be in charge to see it.
When you get to the root of the protest and the problem, it's not something we can solve. Like, for example, the Free Palestine protest. You know, we're not the ones attacking them. All we can do is try and stop Israel. You know, and maybe there's sanctions and there's this and there's that and the other, but as long as Israel are attacking Palestine, those people are going to come out and protest. And if we're doing everything we can, and you can stand there and say, listen, we're sanctioning them, we're not providing them weapons, which they're not, they are still providing them weapons.
Yes, they are. But even if that had occurred, it would still be a problem.
Even if they did everything they could, the protest would still come out.
Absolutely. Right?
So for that, you know, there's an element where at some point you've got to go, we're doing everything we can't keep giving you time. But if you get someone, for example, like me, who comes out with a cause that's not in the mainstream, that's
Sure.
not being heard, that people aren't aware of, we should give it the time, because we're going, hang on a minute, this is something that none of us are thinking about, maybe we should. And even if you use that time, you look at it and you go, oh, it's a hoax, it's rubbish, it's not worth it, you know, and then move on. You should at least address it from the start and go, well, is it? And you should ask the question, because it might just be the next best thing.
Right, okay, yeah, for sure.
All in all with this, it's, to be honest, my whole view on corruption is that it's not much we could do about it. It's kind of like death and taxes. It's just always going to be there, just bothering you, and there's nothing much you can do to get away from it. But it doesn't mean that trying to fight for causes, calling corruption and just the absolute BS that governments try to pull on us, or elitists in general try to explain to us, and they just try to coerce us and trick us into whatever foolery they want us to believe. It's always worth fighting for what is true.
One thing, or if you could whisper one thing in everyone's ears today, tomorrow, whenever it may be, if you could whisper one thing, like a saying or something you would want them to hear, like almost like a ghost, what would that one thing be?
Find what stirs you up inside, what makes you happy, what you can be fulfilled by. And no matter how big an achievement that would be, drive at it with everything you've got and know you will always get it, providing you don't quit. That's the only time you're going to fail, is when you quit.
I like that a lot. Thank you very much for talking. I appreciate it. It was a good conversation. Second conversation we had, but the first one at least that I've been able to document. So
yeah, no problem.
It was really good. I appreciate it.
Is it okay if we go back to the question you said before that? I've got a bit more to add.
Which one?
About protests.
Yeah. Let's go for it. We can talk right now.
When it comes to protesters, if you look back at history, protesters suffer. And they publicly suffer to show their commitment to a cause. Whether it's monks in the Eastern world standing in front of government buildings and setting themselves on fire, or even here, the suffragettes throwing themselves in front of the King's horse and being killed by them to demonstrate how important their point is. I think when somebody is just walking through the streets with a sign because it's popular, there's not much merit or substance to that. But when somebody comes out and is willing to suffer in front of you over and over again just to make you listen, I think that deserves an ear.
Yeah. At the bare minimum, when all these politicians, they read up on the news and they see that everywhere, that people will go to lengths of suffering just to be heard, just to be seen, it at least at the bare minimum deserves a second or two of just attention, of just conversation at least, of trying to understand, okay, why did this person feel that way?
Exactly.
Thank you very much. That was great. Good addition, actually. That was great.
I thought you'd like that.
That was nice.
And the man in the back of this video said it best. Regardless of what you think of him, democracy is the worst form of government, except for all those other forms that have been tried. Appreciate you.